Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Crooked Illness. I'm excited to dive into today's topic with my awesome guest today. I am joined by Kyle Blanks, who will be sharing his personal story along with the role and effect CBD has had in his story so far. Kyle is a former MLB athlete who played for the San Diego Padres, Oakland Athletics, and Texas Rangers. Kyle is also the co-owner of Road Runner CBD, an awesome company we'll be hearing about in the episode as well. I'm very excited to have Kyle here with us to share his story, the role CBD's played in his life, and his involvement with Road Runner CBD and what he has learned so far in his journey. He has also taught me a lot because I am someone who knew absolutely nothing about CBD before this episode, so I know you guys will learn a lot from Kyle today as well. So without further ado, welcome Kyle to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Paris. I appreciate it.
Of course, excited to jump into this topic with you because this is something I have not yet covered, not yet gone into, and we had such a good chat last time about this topic and just a good little rundown of your story. So before we dive on in here, I'd love if you could, tell us a little bit more about you and your story.
I guess as far as what you've already started with.
Is what I said, yeah.
Yeah, as far as playing off what you've elaborate what you started with. So the way you met me was just through Jay, who put us in contact. And I played professional baseball for 12 plus years and played for the Padres, Athletics, Rangers, and Giants. I played in the big leagues I played Major League Baseball with the San Diego organization, Oakland, and Texas. I never played in the major leagues with San Francisco. And then I had a very, very brief 3-day stint in Mexico. And it seemed to seemed to end in my my typical injury. So that was the end of my career. And very shortly after that, I got my medical cannabis card because I had, as a player, always consumed. Starting in about 2012, I became a pretty consistent consumer. And then after finishing playing, my goal was really to see how I felt. And I personally believe cannabis was a great way for me to find that out after, basically going through a lot of surgeries, dealing with a lot of pharmacology, having a lot of very good help and support along the way, just truly feeling like I need to kind of detox from everything that I've been using and let me put this filter of using what I believe is going to help me into play and really kind of see where that takes me. And
Wow.
It was really an interesting kind of start.
What was that process like? Because I know last time we kind of talked about this a little bit, but, like the solutions that you were searching for. Because I know you mentioned, the surgeries and like the injuries and like the recovery and all of that and pharmaceuticals and different medications. So what kind of things were you trying, and were they helpful to you in like dealing with different things, or what kind of stuff are you trying, and what did CBD do for you that the other things weren't able to do?
So I guess in the major leagues, you basically have access to anything you would really care for. You can consume cannabis, which is why I did that. So it was definitely me exercising I'm allowed to now. Whether that be by it's just I don't get in trouble for it, or I'm actually allowed to, is whatever. So I think that's kind of how I made that transition, knowing that, for years, you have these things you use. Every season you basically stop taking them, but they function more as tools if you're truly trying to use them for function. And that's, as someone who, I have a lot of experience with a lot of different kinds of pills, but truly using them in more a fashion of a very dull spoon to cut a tough steak, like just a very poor tool for the job.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's kind of where getting to across the course of my career towards the last 5 years, get to really see the benefits against each other for myself, having things that I would use during the season, but then starting to put a little more cannabis into the regimen to where then it becomes now however much you consume, to the outcome. Like if you're still the same person, still the same productive person, the amount you consume is no different than the amount of food you consume. These are consumables that can help you feel good. And that's not where I started to think because of how everyone else feels about it, to now where, the first CBD strain I tried as a medical cannabis patient made me truly stand up in my house and just go, I feel amazing. Something that I had never experienced from anything else,
Wow.
in that
That's
context.
amazing. Cause I know you said you've tried, like you've had different medications that you've been on, different pills and, recovering from different surgeries, but then so you said the medical CBD was what like was really good, like helpful for you and made like the major difference.
Well, and yeah, to clarify, like medical, like cannabis, good cannabis is good. Like medical record, whatever
Yeah.
that is, it's good. It's good, and that's so. That was just truly my first experience with CBD at all. Really, it was briefly explained to me when I bought it, and even at that time, I still have yet to find a better descriptor of it, and it was basically explained as CBD is kind of a state of well-being when it really lands well, and I truly have not found a better way to articulate that. And that's kind of the magic of, I think, going from where I started to now is that story is truly relevant because I still can't figure out, as much as I have worked on trying to learn a better turn of phrase and work on my words, I've still not found a better way to describe it.
Wow. Yeah. And I remember you telling me so you said 2012 was the first year you started using CBD, right?
That
2012?
was the first year I started really consuming cannabis pretty regularly,
Okay.
where I really
So
started just smoking.
yeah, yeah.
Probably starting to actualize some of the benefits, just not really being able to articulate them. Like, yeah, I feel
Okay.
relaxed and I chill out, and I'm at home by myself, minding my business. Like
So
a
you were
lot of,
getting the benefits, but you just didn't know how to
you
like
know,
describe.
just kind of once again at the beginning, think of it as the beginning of your story to the end. Like it really does take time and experience to really articulate, and in this case truly a
Mhm.
little bit more research and science and time to catch up, to where now I have more access to different things that I can
Mm,
actually help myself with. It would be like walking into a hardware store and then that it has a limited stock of tools, and then walking into one that just has any tool you can think of,
yeah.
depending on the
Oh
job.
yeah. I love that comparison. And what were some of when you first started using the products, what were some of the earliest benefits that you started to notice?
So when we started the company, it was based off of a lot of consumption, a lot of
Mhm.
experience, and I was really, really shocked when I got my medical card, just based off of what I was trying to do with it. When I started going to more dispensaries and seeing more topical treatments, things that I was just used to, like rubbing stuff on and like, let's see what it does. So,
Yeah.
and I was pretty fresh off of, in 2017, in 2016, in August, I had an Achilles repair. And so I was still pretty in tune with how that felt. And when I got my medical card, I started feeling that the things I was using to feel better with it were genuinely helping better than the other things I had used in the past. And that was like, at a certain point, you have to trust what you're feeling. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially through rehab, a lot of rehab, that is the goal, is to become more self-aware so you can prepare yourself for what you're doing.
I love that. And I wanted to ask you again too, because I think you mentioned this probably, but so when was the last year that you were playing?
The last year I played was 2017.
2017. So, and then you started in what year? 20
I first game I played professionally was in 2005.
2005. So 2005 to 2017. And so at the end, because I think we kind of got into this a little bit, but um, I wanted to ask you, I always love asking this question because I think it's just like really interesting and how it blends into, just like hearing your thoughts on this. So I wanted to ask you, so do you believe there is a relationship between mental health and mindset? And if there is a relationship, what does that relationship look like for you?
For me, as a player, it was very in search of. I think as most players are, because the game of baseball, as a hitter, the game of baseball is not rewarding. You are even the best players are failures by statistical analysis. You are successful 30% of the time.
Oh,
That's not
wow.
that
I
doesn't
never
play.
knew. I never knew that. That.
Hitting 300 means you get out seven out of 10 times. So I think the nature of going through that, really understanding that as a player, basically as my physical mortality was setting in, but then really just understanding like, okay, the best mental, I guess the best mental advice I could pass on is having no expectations. So like when, let's say CBD, you were very open to taking it, which made it awesome. Like I asked and you had already done it. And
Yeah, it was
that's
funny because I remember you when we first started talking, you told me about the products from Road Runner and sent them over and I was trying them and that was really actually the first ever product CBD related that I ever tried. And I think you were saying too, like you didn't know that going in, like you thought probably
oh,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
maybe she's like had other products or stuff like that. But
Jay had. That's why I made that association.
oh,
Jay had, so maybe
Jay,
she has too. Yeah, literally. It is
yeah,
literally just maybe most people have heard of it. Maybe
yes.
she's tried it. That's basically all my thoughts can be. And
Well, yeah, you definitely taught me a lot about it because I really didn't know too much about it going into it, but I definitely understand the benefits and I think it's really important to have you here to talk about it because you've experienced it. You've lived through it, you've had these things that you've done, you've tried, you've seen the benefits, you've had different effects and you've also tried other things as well, like you mentioned medication and having the surgeries, having the recovery time, all this stuff and then mentioning, the biggest piece I think that's really important is that, the effects of the CBD and the benefits you receive from that was making you feel better, like feel better on the inside compared to other things that you have tried. And I think I also agree with you there too. When you say eventually you need to start listening to your body and how you're feeling rather than, like doing what is really expected and like typical and things like that. But like this is I think is great is having another resource like this to have out there and just hearing from you, what it's done for you and what it's helped you with. So in terms of like what has it been the most helpful with? So has it been the most helpful with recovery from injuries or what things for you has it been the most helpful with?
so I think feeling good has just become my goal. And I think cannabis has become that very, um, over time and learning how it can work for me has become that I genuinely can control a pretty good portion of how I feel. Not the same thing with diet, exercise, all of those things are part of that recipe. They're all very valuable ingredients. Same with CBD. And I think the overall coming out of baseball and, to now, even over the past couple of days, really getting to talk to other friends about it and really articulate, like, I think the thing I had lined up the most were my projections of what's going to happen. And when you have no expectations, that projection is a blank canvas.
Mm.
When a lot of people, typically their projection of what is going to happen is built off of what they want instead of the reality of what actually is going to happen. So I will say CBD has helped me really define that for other people because my goal has just been to feel good. So to help them frame that out, like, look, this most people's projection of what's going to happen is not even close to what's going to happen because of their thoughts about the plant.
Mm-hmm.
That
That's
needs
an
to be.
interesting piece too. I thought that was really cool too. Last time we talked about, a lot of the misconceptions that people have, because I know there's a lot of people that I know who definitely think, when you talk about CBD products and different things like that, some people could say, oh, that's bad because it's, weed, marijuana, it's bad for you, like all these things. What do you say to people who think that? Like, where do you think it comes from, that thought?
So that's genuinely, I haven't run into too many of those people, but
Okay.
I'm trying to help people. So I have had to engage those questions. And my bigger thing is, where did you hear these things? Because whether or not, you know, I'm going to tell you what I know about it. I'm just going to tell you that if it conflicts with what you know, these are facts I've checked. So I'm just going to tell you, if your 2 + 2 is adding up to 3, that is not accurate. You don't get to pick that. And that's the reality and projection thing, is the reality of how it gets spit out to your projection. How many people deal well with that, and how many of them choose to die on that hill that they have just found themselves, instead of just understanding that the truth is something that you stumble upon, whether it was your first inclination or not. you
Yeah.
you
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to come to that realization. And that is, being able to help others feel good allows them to actualize as much of them as they can. That's their participation in their world, is what is going to help them do whatever it is they want to do. But they're genuinely going to be able to do more if they feel good.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just all I'm here to try and communicate, and to really fight that. If you're just not wanting to do it through this because someone told you it's bad, well, let me try and explain to you why I don't agree with that.
Hmm.
And it's
I
and
think
it's
that's good. I think that's really great that like you're willing to, and have those conversations and let people know, this is what my experience has been like, and this can potentially help you. And like you said, because the end goal, right, is to feel good, to have a good life, to be in a good place. And that's something that's been helpful to you. So I'd love to hear about, the Road Runner CBD. So what has been I think we talked about it a little bit in the intro, Road Runner CBD. So what has been your involvement in the company, and how did you get started in Roadrunner?
So I met my business partners, Bob and Lori Boylan. They're my brother's friend's parents. And when I met Bob, he, like myself, was a medical cannabis patient. And in New Mexico, you have private production rights, and so you can grow your own medicine. Which, until I found that out, it never occurred to me. I never thought about it. I had tried to grow one little seed and I killed it. So,
Oh
and
no.
that was just literally, I happened to find it, and here we go. But really getting to learn that, like, me and Bob have built up a very brotherly relationship over a long period of time, and a lot of it is centered around our common benefits from this plant. And that was really what kind of started that engine. And then we both were looking for the same thing, which was just to feel as good as we could. And in 2018, the state of New Mexico launched its hemp pilot program. So we became one of the first manufacturers in the state.
Oh wow.
And then in 2019, we farmed. So we've been at our highest point vertically integrated, which is from seed to sale. But we, in the past year, over the last year, have kind of turned that into just, basically manufacturing, and really trying to advocate for the farmers in the industry, because they are a very good support. But having gone through that experience of farming, there's very little time to dedicate to any other aspect of your business. So
Oh.
you do
Hmm.
rely on those other parts of industry to be supportive. And that's where we, as a manufacturer, just have a different understanding of that, and are really trying to help. We understand what this can do for people, and how it can help. And a lot of that is, our brand has been carved out over, truly trying to provide what people are looking for, and trying to help them. It's not always exactly how we want it. And that's
Mm.
that's that's the difference of really trying to be really actually being able to absorb all of those things people say, and to turn them into either inquisitive questions on how to turn them around on the subject, or to really engage them more with it, and to, like yourself, to help them learn more.
Oh yeah, because I think that's so important, because I always love featuring things that, just more resources, and putting more resources out there into into the world, because, this is definitely something that I've said like this probably a million times, that I didn't really know a lot about. So being, learning that through you, and also, using these products, I think has been really great, because, they're amazing. I know you sent me the pina colada pina
No, thanks. Yeah.
colada and then the muscle gel. And, I think that honestly, just hearing more things from people about their experiences and about the benefits they've received right from trying different things, and I think is really important to just to have that out there, to like explore it, see what it is, potentially see if that could help you out, and potentially see, someone listening to this, like who maybe wants to try, is curious about this, maybe someone out there who's like me, who's never used the products and doesn't really know a lot about it, but they want to learn more. They want to, try it out, see what it's about, see if they can it could potentially help them feel better physically and mentally. And and I also like how you kind of tie it all together. Like you talk about using CBD, but also diet and exercise as well. So you're not just like doing one thing and focusing, so heavily on just the CBD. You're also focusing on, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, exercise, working out, like doing these different things as well, and kind of, doing the entire thing together as an approach instead of just one thing. So I think that's also really like a really good, point that you brought up earlier. And also I wanted to ask you something else as well. So I'd love to hear from you, what has been the most valuable lesson that you've learned so far, whether that be from your time playing in the MLB or through your experiences with CBD so far?
Um, I think I've gotten to the point now where I'm I'm always really interested to hear what someone has to say. I think that's kind of like, what are your thoughts? That's kind of really where I've grown to. And I've never been someone to just totally manhandle the conversation, but now I think knowing that I've found, one of my mechanisms to help people, how am I able to optimize my ability to do that more and more and more? And I think a lot of that is a lot of people are not given the opportunity to express how they feel, which is an enormous part of helping someone feel better, is actually taking in that information that you genuinely didn't know. So being, blowing up your world all the time by, once again, your projection of what's wrong being off, that is truly how you're able to help people. Just I have no expectation of what I'm going to be able to do to help, but I understand that if I listen to you, I'm going to find the only ways that I may be able to. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that
Oh
has come
yeah, wow.
with letting the other side of the conversation. It's not that I've ever shut it out, but now I'm just curious to hear about everything, because now it's all about, like, my goal is to help people feel good. There is not a single point or place that doesn't apply. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm always really curious about where these thoughts come from, whatever they are, because they're
You're
almost
talking
certain.
about thoughts related to CBD or just
CBD or anything in general,
anything?
just
Okay,
in
okay.
general, what is, people's choice of food, like whether, it should be more of a concern that they're healthy than a matter of that you're concerned of what they eat. Why does it matter if they're getting to the same place you are? Um, it's kind of like, and I don't want to dig too far this way, but it's kind of like, regardless of what you believe or what place you go to look up at the sky and say something, there is a right way and a wrong way to go about it. And a lot of that is going to come with listening to what someone else believes and just absorbing it. Because if everyone's doing everything the right way, and we can agree that that right way has no one way, why would anyone have something to say to somebody else, especially when it doesn't affect them?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
that's
yeah. Oh
kind of
yeah.
that kind of
Mm-hmm.
like my view on politics is, it's people, like, politics should favor people that don't understand them. They shouldn't favor the people that politic. And that's the thing is, if you're a competent person, you shouldn't continue to fight for things you have. You should fight for things that other people should have, that are valuable for you. You've already
Mm-hmm.
fought for them and you have them. You know how to keep them.
Oh yeah.
That applies
Yeah.
with anything, you know. So truly,
Yeah.
that it's just getting out of that thought path of what's good for me first, because I have found what's good for me. Now I can help others.
I love that. And I also love, just kind of the conversations we had before and the conversations we had today about, your story, your experiences, talking about CBD, talking about these benefits, and really getting into these details. Because I think this is so important to feature, put out there, because this is just, again, another resource that people can dive into and check out and see if it's something that they want to explore and that could potentially help them get to a better place. And ultimately, like, our goal is to feel good, to be happy, to have a good life, and anything that kind of helps with that, I love getting into and diving into. And I just wanted to say thank you to you, Kyle, for coming out today, out here on Crooked Illness, and having this chat with me, and talking about Road Runner CBD, talking about your experiences, playing professional baseball, and all the things that you learned along the way so far in your journey. So it's been a great conversation. I can't wait to put this episode out there.
Awesome. No, yeah, definitely. It's always fun to get to share those conversations, and it's every perspective is valuable because we're all on the spectrum. So it's how do we kind of find that common ground, even though we may have different ideas about how to
Yes.
get there, and
Awesome.
especially I was gonna say, especially because you're not me and I'm not you. So the best way to find
Mm-hmm.
that out is to be inquisitive about it.
Yes. And tell everyone, where can they find you?
Well, you can go to roadrunnercbd.com. That's where you'll be able to find everything on Instagram, I believe on Facebook as well. I'm on Instagram, but I honestly can't tell you off the top of my head the exact link. So
No worries.
maybe a little digging, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to work on that, using that as a tool of outreach a little more. But it is
Awesome.
a work in progress.
Awesome. Yes, you guys go check him out. Go check out Roadrunner CBD. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. And I hope that everyone has a great rest of your day or night or whatever time it is when you're listening to this. So, all right, guys. Bye.